talking where Kawhi Leonard will play next season. Lakers and Clippers are front runners out west. They've both completed their meetings with Kawhi. Now the Raptors will reportedly get their chance to do the same. So which team has the edge? Chris Carter had the inside track yesterday. He tweeted this: Kawhi update. I've just been informed Kawhi has not made a decision, and to think the Lakers are ahead of the Clippers or the Raptors would be wrong. Sarah, what do you think the best option for Kawhi Leonard is if you're choosing between the Lakers, the Raptors, or the Clippers?
I think looking at these three teams, there's not a bad option. So to me, and this is probably not the answer that you want, whatever Kawhi wants to do. Because you could look at Toronto and staying in Toronto. They won a title. They would be one of the title favorites heading into next season if he does, in fact, decide to stay.
Run it back.
He's got a great comfort with the medical staff, which is very important to him. He seemed to have a good fit with the organization, but does he want to be in Toronto? And that's a question that only Kawhi can answer. He's from Southern California. It has been well documented that he had wanted to go back home and play at home. So you've got two teams that you look at the Lakers roster. You can play alongside two of the best players in the NBA. They would be an absolute force watching how they would all fit together. And then you've got the Clippers, who did an extraordinary job in really gritting through last year and made a nice push in the postseason against the Golden State Warriors. You've got stability, an excellent coach in Doc Rivers. You got it run in terms of front office and the mind of Jerry West. You got a billionaire owner who's willing to do anything for the team to help them to win. So I think it's more about, what does Kawhi want? Where does he want to be? What organization does he want to be with? I don't think there was a bad choice. And see, I know you've been connected with this process. I don't think anyone totally understands what Kawhi is thinking at this point, but I can understand why it's taking so long, because he wants to look through everything. He wants to meet with the teams. He wants to hear what they have to say. So a lot of it just comes down to what matters most to Kawhi, because I think all of these options would be excellent for him.
Let me give you the things that Kawhi is looking for, not in this order. Number one, he's looking for a staff, from a medical coaching staff, that is willing to work with the doctors that he personally has, compared to what people thought it was just the medical staff in Toronto. And he does have that with all three of these teams. He'd like to be able to play close to where he grew up. That was his original request. So you have that in two of the three teams. He wants more NBA championships. He wants to continue to get better. So in all these situations, which ones are best? Toronto, short term, they might have a window that might be open for a year or two. But where the decisive advantage to all these things is LeBron James and Anthony Davis, what they can do with Kawhi Leonard, with his skill set. Because people are like, Kawhi doesn't need the ball. But we have seen he's become a great one-on-one basketball player. Anthony Davis, he doesn't need the ball, but he's great in the pick and roll. He can go off the bounce. He's a great one-on-one offensive player. And at some point, LeBron James, this is year number 17. At some point, LeBron needs 5 to 8 minutes where he can go sit in the corner, where LeBron can be the picker in a pick and roll. He could pop. Maybe he could play the 4 spot. Like, there's so many options that the Lakers present that the other ones can't match. In Canada, he's got a tax problem. He's got a cold weather problem, and he's got a longevity. How long will that window stay open there as far as with the players that they have on the roster? So it's a very, very tough decision, but those are the things that Kawhi and his team have expressed to me are very, very important as far as the next move of his career.
On the screen it says, would Kawhi be making a mistake not signing with the Lakers? I don't think there's a mistake to be made here. I think that, to your point, they're all good options. But I think the other reason this decision has not yet been made, it's not because Kawhi loves the attention and wants to draw out the process. It's because none of these teams check every box. The Raptors check all the boxes: basketball, management, at least short-term basketball, a ability to win, a loving fan base, but they are a 0 out of 10 on location. Right? Like, I mean, and by the way, city of Toronto is a gorgeous city, an international city. But it is cold. The taxes in Canada is a real thing, and it's not in America.
Just some basic things. When you go to watch the news in Canada, you're not watching U.S. news.
Yeah.
You're not staying up with the current events that Kawhi's been watching for the last 27, 28 years of his life.
When
There
I'm in my
is a
hotel
disconnect.
in Toronto, I can't get your show.
Well, therein lies the biggest problem.
it is a zero. If we're just making a list, it's a 0 out of 10.
Go through the
For the
rest.
Clippers, with respect to Gallinari and Trez and Lou Williams and Patrick Beverley, all nice players, the Clippers next year would be the least talented roster Kawhi's ever played on by far. He came from the Spurs.
Yes.
The Spurs, that organization, came up with Duncan and Parker and Ginobili. And I know it went sour, but they were always really good teams. So the Clippers, it's a talent. How close are we to winning a title? And with the Lakers, it's all the nonsense we were talking about with them up until they traded for Anthony Davis. It is the coaching search gone awry. It is Magic saying Rob Pelinka's a backstabber and now having to be like, nah, but it's all good now.
And Magic is a person who they looked up to. How does that get repaired?
Right.
Because Kawhi saw and heard all that afterwards. He wasn't following it blow by blow, but it was time to make a decision which team you want to go to. That information was presented to him.
None of these options are perfect options. And so to me, tie goes to Anthony Davis. This is, bless you, this is, the reason I say Anthony Davis instead of LeBron is, I believe LeBron wants to play past his current contract. I believe LeBron wants to keep the door open. I don't want to talk about it much on this show, but I have good reason to believe he wants to at least keep the door ajar to maybe one day playing in an NBA game on the same court as his son. That means he's got to play 5 more years minimum. So I think LeBron's going to be there for a while, but how much longer is LeBron going to be league MVP caliber, best player in the league caliber player? Anthony Davis is going to be that for a decade. So Kawhi and Anthony Davis could team up and be the best duo the NBA has until this time next decade. And to do it in this, where did he originally demand to be traded to or asked to be traded to?
Los Angeles Lakers.
To do it for that team. So I think the Lakers make the most sense, but it's clearly not a done deal, and it's on the board. We're doing this again next year. It's on the board. He signs a 1+1 in Toronto, tries to repeat, and then goes and sees next year when a lot of teams will have cap space, but there's not a big free agency class, and I don't think we're going to find out, well, we're not going to find out until maybe Chris lets us know, but I don't think he knows yet either.
And so in the meantime, we wait for Chris. Thanks for joining us today, Sarah. Appreciate it coming up. Hey, what did Alex Morgan do that set Twitter on fire? Next on First Things First.
I got you covered.